Forgot I had to bring myself in there. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blood Splatter Chatter Live. My name is Verno. Me and the panel tonight are going to be talking about the 2005 British horror film, The Descent. What up? What's going on, everybody? We got Stu in the house. We got Lynk in the house. And we got Phable. Gentlemen, what is going on?
What up?
What is up, brother?
Not a whole hell of a lot. Ready to get into this flick. I'm the only one that this is a first time watch for, right?
No way. First time?
Yeah, I'd never seen this before. I just watched it. I watched it 3 times this week, two and a half times this week, and I watched the sequel, which we won't get into. But you guys had all seen it before, right?
Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
Link, I'm gonna put you on the spot just a little bit. This is a Link pick, so you want to tell me? I could have warned you a little bit, but without spoiling too much of your opinion, your pick clearly you like it, so we can spoil that. Why did you want to review this film? Why did you want to show me this film? Which I'm glad you did.
This I was a bit of a horror snob, I guess you could say, in like my teenage years. Like I had a lot of standards for me to enjoy or watch a horror film. Like I hated. I didn't hate, but I didn't really enjoy. Like we're at a party, we're gonna ignore all the dumb shit going on as people are getting killed off type of vibe.
Right.
I really liked that. Like horror films that took with me were like stuff like the Hills Have Eyes remake. Texas Chainsaw, 28 Days Later. There's like a camaraderie in those films to an extent, like it's like an emotional aspect almost. Mm-hmm. And I felt like this kind of had that same vibe. Like it's like, so it's like you're locked down in there, trapped in a cave, no way out. It could be claustrophobic. That'd be terrible. And on top of it, that's already a terrible situation. But on top of it, you got like stuff you can't see in the dark. So
right,
those are just a lot of things that personally terrify me. And to be honest, they're doing some research. There weren't too many good horror films in the early 2000s, and this is like one of them that stood out for me, to be honest.
Right. Just like top of mind, because I think people kind of do consider that a drought for horror films. There's not many. You mentioned one of them right there, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Dawn of the Dead, and American Psycho are like the 3 that stand out that are like before this. I think Hostel's right after this, whether you're a fan of that or not. But yeah, dude, this is the lead up to, or right around the torture porn explosion, the post 9/11.
Don't say that word.
Yeah, the gore stuff, which we get. They don't hold back in the gore in this, which is something I didn't know going into it. I did watch. This is directed. I'll go ahead and bring up this slideshow. This is directed by Neil Marshall, who some of you may know this character. He's the one in the middle. These are all of his wives. He's actually a Mormon. No, he's not, but that would be cool. This is the cab. Neil Marshall, he's the handsome fella in the middle. He directed Dog Soldiers, which we've covered on DHS, Steph and Link. I can't remember your guys' opinions on that. Fill me in a little bit. You didn't like it either, Phable? Because this is one I went into this movie a little bit hesitant because a lot of people love Dog Soldiers. Like a lot of people fucking love that movie. And I gave that movie every chance I could. I watched it 2 or 3 times when we covered it, and I just didn't get it. And I'm not going to say there's none of those issues that I had with that film and this film. Some of it carries over, but it's a really different feeling film. You didn't like it, Phable? Link, did you like Dog Soldiers?
No, I saw Dog Soldiers after this, to be honest. Like I saw this and enjoyed it so much, so I was like looking at his filmography and I seen Dog Soldiers. I generally like werewolf stuff. And I saw it, I felt it was very low budget, very cheesy. There's a different this one feels way like I don't know how many films he did in between this, but he leveled up in between those years significantly.
I think it's got a lot bigger, but I didn't look into it, but it's got to have a bigger budget. This one's got a $5 million budget. I think it had like a $53 million return. And Dog Soldiers, I just turned it on earlier just to like, I had it on the background while I was doing some research for this. And you could really see the dip in quality. Or not the dip because it came before, but it's got to be way lower budget. Had you ever seen that one, Stu? You ever heard of Dog Soldiers or seen it?
I didn't. I was when I was looking up this guy earlier. I saw that was like how he, I guess, made a name for himself initially, and I like this movie enough to be interested to watch it, but I have not seen it yet. I have not seen it yet.
I mean, I think one of the reasons this is one of those things, like before getting deeper into horror, if you would have been like, oh, is there a bunch of great werewolf movies? I'd have been like, oh, sure, there's got to be a boatload of them. And looking through it, unless you're really into that subgenre, it's like, no, there's maybe like 3. like that's kind of why Dog Soldiers, and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, some people just fucking love it. I feel like it kind of gets propped up a little bit because it's not that great of a movie, but it's going to make some top 5, top 10 werewolf movie lists.
Yeah, I already forgot it, bro.
Yeah.
Was it top 3 including the John Carpenter 2004 film? Yeah, what was that called? Cursed or something like that? I actually like that one with Christina Ricci.
With Joshua Jackson.
Josh Jackson.
Yeah.
It's a John Carpenter film?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
It's either I believe it's Carpenter, isn't it? Or is it Wes Craven?
I don't know.
It's one of those two.
I saw that in the movies. I remember liking it.
So, someone down in the chat's going to help us out. But yeah, I'm really curious about that. But and here's another thing. I went and looked in. I've been a little bit busy. Usually I do the stuff that I did today to prepare for the show like 4 days ago. And it's all but today I'm like, all right, let me look into this cast. I don't know any of these girls. I looked through all their filmographies. I don't know anything any of these girls have done. Do any of you guys know any of the cast from anything?
Yeah, you got Olivia Munn in The Purple. Juno? Olivia Munn? She looks like Olivia Munn. Yo, Tomb Raider vibes though. Halfway through the movie, she could be like a Lara Croft.
She did, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, she seemed the most like familiar face, but I couldn't place any of them. No.
The one girl, Holly, the one that is got the short haircut or whatever, she's the one that kind of like is the most recognizable, or her look stands out the most amongst the other girls, where I kind of get confused sometimes, especially once you get into the cave as to who is who. She stands out the most to me, and she looked like I knew her, and then I looked her up and didn't know anything. But I will say, when she grows her hair out, she's probably the hottest one, dude. I'm looking at pictures of her. I'm like, damn, they did her a disservice in this movie, because she doesn't look like she looks in real life. She's actually super hot. And maybe you guys got that vibe. I didn't.
My girl that lifts her leg up all the way. I don't know. When she lifted her leg up all the way, I was like, this girl's kind of hot.
I'm going to go with Olivia Munn.
Yeah, well, shit. I mean, looking at this picture right here, they all look smoking hot.
I was about to say.
That's one thing you can say for this movie. First of all, Dog Soldiers had an all-male cast. So then he's like, let's switch it up. There was originally... They casted a guy, or they wrote a guy into this film, and Neil Marshall's like, get rid of him. We've got enough of that. And I think that was a smart idea. Whether it would help the problem that I have that we'll get into a little bit, where I'm having a hard time telling these characters apart, it would do that. But it also, having an all-girl cast makes this more of like a standout film. It's like something about it makes it a little bit more, not like in a, I'm not saying this in like a virtual signally way. It's like a memorable film because of that a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, it totally works. Because when my wife saw what I was watching, she said, "Oh, you watching The Descent? I love that movie."
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
I get it.
Got Rogue in the house, Two Gun. Appreciate you guys popping in early. Going here.
What's up?
All right, so let me see what we got going on here. Where's my little thing? There's my little thing. All right, so this is our main character, and I think I want to get into this right away. Let's just start at the beginning. This is Sarah. She's the one that we're going through this story with for the most part. And at the very beginning of the movie, we open up and we see, within the first 5 minutes, we get a lot of info kind of packed into. It's really like 3 minutes of it, because some of it's just credits. We have these 3 friends. They seem to be some I want to call them bad bitches, but I don't want to get canceled, but I'm going to do it. These some bad bitches, man. They're out there. They're rafting. These are adventurous ladies.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to get into this. They get off this trip, and 2 of them go to leave after we see some signs of a possible affair, and this happens.
Are you okay? You seem a bit distant. I'm fine.
And instantly I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right. And this is before, like I said, this is like literally like 4 minutes into the movie. Like nothing has happened, and then that happens, and I'm like, okay, I'm into it. You know what I mean?
You
I think
got
we've
me.
all got kids on this panel, and we've all got somebody that we fucking love. And this girl just lost her husband and her daughter. So what do you guys think? Let's kind of break down this opening scene. We can go back to that little hint at an affair before that too, or just overall. Stu, I'll start with you. What is your thoughts on this opening scene that we just got?
I loved how like so much of it was just told through like angry or like passive aggressive facial expressions. Like we don't know exactly what's going on, but we know like there's some tension between these two, and the guy's distracted, and we don't know what's going on. I like how they bring you in right away. With the car wreck. And like they kind of leave you hanging. You don't know at first whether or not the daughter's gone as well. So I
Right.
thought that was well done. But I think it's the start of a theme in this movie where where grudges are going to be held and played out. How they're going to be played out, but a lot of it's going to be told through like angry or half hidden facial expression.
Right. That's part of
Which
that
I thought was
female-led film where they're just gonna look at each other dirty instead of having the confrontation.
yeah,
Sorry, ladies.
exactly.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Link, what about you? What do you think of all this at the beginning?
It's an emotional core that I often preach about, bro. It's you right there, like you said. All of us have and if we don't have kids, someone's got someone they care about, and to be put in that situation, it's like it's your world. The rug's been pulled from underneath you. Your world's been turned upside down. I actually, my first watch, I remember I did not pick up on the whole affair thing going on. So not to spoil too much, but the ending where she drops the tag, I thought that was just her. Like my first watch, I thought that was her just implying like, yo, I know you killed old girl because she had your tag and you said you didn't see her. I didn't pick up on the whole affair. So that added a whole nother layer to once I found that out. But yeah, going back to that scene where he's helping her out the raft, he's helping Juno out the raft, and even Sarah kind of looks at them like, "Yo, what the fuck, bro? Like,
Right.
your wife's over here." Yeah.
This
He
is
knows.
part of what
And he's over there like,
Pretty cool.
He
Yeah.
knows. He saw Juno. We all saw Juno. We're like, yeah, we know.
Here's the thing, dude. First of all, there's these three characters at first. It's Sarah and Juno. They're the main ones, and then Beth is like the best friend to Sarah. And I'm pretty sure it's Beth is the one that sees it. It's one of those things, especially on a second watch, it's really obvious. And here's my thing, like the way that they portray like the affair, the way that they give the hint to the audience that there's an affair is the husband going up to the girl that's not his fucking wife, and he's taking her helmet off. I'll tell you what, if one of you guys goes up to my old lady and start taking her helmet off, you might as well be taking her panties off. Like that's some intimate fucking weird shit. Like what?
Facts,
Like
bro.
you know what I mean?
What is going on there?
Yeah,
Facts.
it's like I don't know if you're like helping someone put their jacket on, maybe, but your helmet, that's like your face, and you're all like way too intimate, dude. Then we get back to that pulp fiction foot massage conversation. Like, you don't take another man's wife's helmet off. That's fucking weird, or vice versa.
Right.
But all right,
So true.
Agreed.
So true.
so we have all this happen.
But yeah.
Go on, wait.
No, I was just gonna say that I enjoy an opening like that. It gives you, it's not I was gonna say it almost gives you shock value, but it's not shock value. It's like that gut punch, that emotional pull. Like you said, you were hooked after the scene. Like,
Yeah,
it gets you
it's
involved.
it's shock value, but not for just shock's sake. You know what I mean? It was shocking, but there was more to it than that. Fable, did you have more to say on it?
Right.
No, I agree with everything you guys said. I enjoyed the abruptness of it. I like the way it opens with this raft scene, and I'm like, what the hell? What's going on?
Right.
What is this movie about? I mean, I knew what the movie was about on my second watch, but if you watch it for the first time, you see these badass chicks rafting and shit going crazy. Like, what the hell? What is this movie? What's going on? And then the car crash is like,
extreme.
yeah, extreme.
Yeah.
And it's just done well too.
Yeah,
like the
the
blood
car
dripping
crash.
off the poles.
I like this. We often talk about using using film as your tool to paint these pictures, right? To paint these worlds and the things we're watching. And this implied death, right? Because it's a pull through a chair, a bloody pull through a chair. They don't show it penetrating his face, right? But it doesn't matter.
Right.
The way it's edited,
Yeah.
the way it's so visceral and quick, you don't need it. You feel it right away. And this right here, this is the mark where you're just like, okay, we're dealing with a director here.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
I think it speaks to the strengths of the movie is its pacing. I think, like, you know, love it or hate it, I think it's paced well. I think we get into it and we set the stakes and we kind of move through the action fairly quickly. That's one thing I did appreciate about it.
Right, which is interesting because as we go through this thing, in like most horror movies, say you're talking about a slasher, you're waiting for that first kill, or usually you get the first kill right away, and then you're waiting. When's it going to be? 20 minutes, 40 minutes, and we've been Lynk and Phable. We've been covering a lot of these slashers where we're noticing that there's that gap. For this one, there's the gap that leads up to when the real horror is going to kick in, but it's not a kill, and there is a long gap, but they fill it in with a lot of other interesting drama that it could be a movie all on its own, the stuff they talk about. Or that,
but what Lynk said also, it makes not only does it have good drama to fill in the gaps between the horror parts, but the whole movie is horrific in itself because of where they are. And if you have any sort of claustrophobia, any kind of fear of suffocation, crawling things, I mean, it's got you there. The fear is there from the beginning, you know?
Right. 100%. And then it's underlined with the trauma. The trauma sets it up, and then everything is there for you. So this is our group. Excuse me. We have the three on the right here. This is who we started out with. They're kind of like the main ones. We got Sarah in the middle. She's the main character. Juno, Beth on the far right. These three on the left, they're just there to make sure I'm fucking confused most of the movie. Right? And they're like, can we find one that looks like our main character? Like, yes, actually, we can find two. And we're going to bring them both down there. We're going to put them in the dark, slap a helmet on them, and tie their hair back. You'll be fine. And so what do you think of just, I'll ask you guys that. Just, we leave that scene, the group, they get together. It's a year later. This is a very common thing that I'm finding in horror movies. Lynk, you saw the movie Fall that came out last year. Fall stole everything from The Descent. It's the exact same fucking story. There's a tragedy at the beginning. There's an accident. One of the people that was involved in that accident is cheating on the other one's husband. A year later, they get together. They go on an adventure together. And it's like, this is the same fucking story. But anyway.
Wow. No, I didn't realize that. And it's like, they go and do something. They try to conquer something no one's ever done before or some shit. Like, there's a lot of themes there. Jesus.
There's even like
after we watch
common, there's even a common saying that the significant other used to say that was written on an object and then is found later on that person. It's like, I like that Fall movie, but after watching this, I don't like it as much. It's like somebody owes somebody a check. Like somebody got hosed here. But this is what I want to ask you guys about. At this point, we're meeting all these characters. They're all slapped together. Holly, the one on the far left, she's new to the group. She's friends with Juno, who's setting this whole thing up. She's kind of going to be like our secondary antagonist throughout the film. But for me, my problem with Dog Soldiers was who the fuck is what and what the fuck are they saying? And right when we get into this, I'm getting nervous because they're introducing me all these characters, and this director has a way of directing his actors where it's very casual. It's like a fly on the wall type of thing where you're overhearing a conversation or whatever. And it does get better, but I want to know, like, I wish one of you guys, this was the first watch for, so it's just me in that boat. But when you guys, if you could remember your first watch, or maybe it's been a while, do you guys have a hard time keeping track of these ladies throughout and understanding what they're saying? Stu, I'll start with you. Or Lynk.
Go ahead,
Mike.
Go
Stu,
ahead.
No, Stu. No, Stu, my man.
Yeah, Verno, completely. I think, obviously once they go down in the cave in the dark, it's a whole nother ball game, like we were saying before. But even here, just the fly on the wall conversations, the different accents, trying to keep a track of backstories and who knows who from where, and whose relationship is to who, and the strength of that, and who we should be invested in, who we should be following, we should be paying attention. By the way, you said it's Holly on the far left.
Yeah. Well,
My
I've got
my
my
eleven
screen.
year old my 11-year-old daughter called her. She said, she called Holly out as like a early pawn in the game. Let's just put it that way. She saw that one coming from a mile away. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, it was definitely very, and it was all at once, kind of. It was like we had that accident. We had just met these people prior to. We had the accident, and now we're all in the cabin together, and it's just like, I don't know, it just kind of got dumped on us, and it definitely felt overwhelming. And then once we get very little time to kind of like lock on to what's going on, and then before you know it, we're down in the cave and it's dark, and
Yeah.
we're just trying to like keep names and faces together at that point.
Right.
That's
There
what
was a few times that I'm like, wait a minute, who the fuck is that? And me and my fiance, she's like, that's Beth, that's Beth. And then we go to someone like, oh wait, no shit, that's Beth. I'm like, I don't know who that was. So I mean, the movie has that issue, but it didn't detract from me enjoying the film. I'll just say that. Link, what about
for
you?
sure.
Like, do you feel all that?
I still don't know anyone besides. I've seen this movie a few times. I still don't know anyone besides Sarah and Juno. I identify them as names I've come up with in my head. Like I know the tiny chick, the edgy chick with the short hair, and then there's the other two. There's the one in the middle between Juno and the one on the far end by Sarah. Like I don't recognize them ever, but
Right.
yeah. And for me, I remember Juno is because the movie Juno, and I find her the most attractive out of the cast. But
Right.
and Sarah's
Well,
the main protagonist. But no, there's. Oh,
I think she's Asian, which helps. Like I think this was maybe she's not, but she's got some kind of ethnic thing going on. Like I think this was my problem with Dog Soldiers too. They're in the UK. There's just it's not their fault. There's just a lack of like diversity. You know what I mean?
That's racist.
It helps.
It's hard
It
to
fucking helps.
Not all white people look the same.
It helps. I'll just say this. I watched the second one, and it's got a different director, and instantly I could be like, oh, I could tell they cast this different. There's no one that is confused with anyone. This director, like, either he doesn't give a fuck or he likes that. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't.
Yeah.
Either he's not thinking of it or he doesn't care if we don't like it because it's a consistent thing with him.
The editor. Oh my bad. I was gonna say the editor to chime in on what you're saying with the distinguish in the second movie. The editor of the first one directed the second one. I don't know if that was like something he might have pointed out, where it's like it's hard to distinguish who's who in the first one. He wanted to rectify that with the second one, even though the second one is a lesser movie by far. That I will give you that. Like you definitely know who everyone is in the second cast. Yeah. It's way more lit. Light, there's a light. It's brightly lit.
Now, is the second one all female or
no?
Okay.
No. I'll tell you what. At the listeners, viewers, stick around. At the end of this movie, I'll set up the premise. I'll tell you guys. I won't spoil anything, but it's interesting what the second one is about. Link, you've seen it, right? Yeah, you've seen it. Phable. Just to finish off this topic, was it similar for you? You kind of have a hard time understanding these ladies. Do you watch stuff with subtitles on too, Link? I know you do. I threw them on for this. I had to.
I do. When it's like this, yes. When they have these thick accents and I'm missing little words here and there. Like when I put on the subtitles while they were having their conversation in the beginning, I picked up on a lot of good convo, and I felt the good writing in their conversation.
Right.
Where maybe when because I saw this in the movies when it first came out, of course, no subtitles. So maybe a lot of that was lost on me, and I felt like you guys, basically, what you're saying, like, I'm kind of lost with these girls, but whatever, let's go. You know what I mean? But this time around, with the subtitles, and maybe I was a little more into it, I don't know, but I totally caught what they were saying to each other, and it's good writing, man.
There's some crucial hints at the very beginning of the movie that with like the conversation that you were mentioning that give you like foreshadowing throughout the rest of the movie that if you're not watching with subtitles you might not catch, because when they're in the cabin at the beginning you got subtitles on, it quotes the live every day or whatever the shit the husband was saying that he gave to both Juno and said to his wife. It quotes that, so it sticks out more, but my first view, it's just like, oh, okay, that's some shit your husband said, and I quickly forgot it, even though it was like on a bracelet that Juno had. You know, I
Right.
didn't. The quotations with subtitles, I don't know. Just reading it in general, I guess, helps me pay attention to more. It's like it's more obvious when they're trying to point things out a
Oh,
little bit.
totally. I mean, it definitely it helps things sink in. It helps me follow stuff. But I'd still, especially for me, like my favorite aspect of this movie. This movie's got a lot going for it, but visually, I think for me is like what I enjoy the most about this movie.
Yeah.
So anytime you're distracted from being able to just look around and enjoy the monsters, enjoy the lighting and the set and all that, and these hot chicks, it's like it's kind of a bit of a bummer that you gotta look away from it. But I can't fucking blame them. They're British. It's not their fault. So whatever. That is how it is. And there's another thing I was thinking. We've kind of mentioned this before. There's some movies I watch, British movies, where I never have that problem. Like, and I've heard this before. There's like a TV, there's like a Hollywood British accent where they're like, these fuckers aren't gonna understand this. Let's all speak like Hugh Grant. Like, you're not asking Hugh Grant what? Like, and then there's like this is more like a street level. Like, this isn't like a book on tape type of person reading British or speaking with a British accent.
Yeah, true. It was weird that like wasn't Holly like Australian and then the other one was English. It was just like too close.
Yeah,
it was just too many. Like they should have gone like more diverse when it came to if they're gonna, because it just kind of like all melded together.
Oh, totally, dude. That's
quick question before we move on, because the one part I'm confused about. They were in England when the accident happened, but in America when they descended the cave?
They were supposed to be in America. I don't know where they were.
They're in North Carolina. They're supposed to be in North Carolina in the woods.
In the beginning, and then when they got in their cars a year later, it was on the right side. Car switched driver.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
You must be right then. Yeah, because you're totally right. Yeah, I didn't catch that. I guess this was in the movie, like you said, Stu, it's in the Appalachians, it's in North Carolina, but this is actually filmed just like Dog Soldiers in Scotland and the UK. I think Neil Marshall might be Scottish.
Yeah, the short haired girl seemed like she was Scottish or something.
I thought the lead character, she seemed like it. I don't think she had a British accent.
Yeah,
I thought she was Scottish.
She was an accent, like a very, I know they're all from Europe, but
right.
She didn't have like the Cockney thing going on or the Australian thing.
So this is our
Juno. Was Juno?
I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah. This is our hole. This is where they're going in. I wish I could tell what side is
Hell no.
I'm not fucking sure. Okay, so this is our group once they get down in the hole. So let's kind of talk about this. They get down there, and basically what we find out, Juno, the one that was cheating with the lead character's husband, she set this whole trip up. She told them they were going to the Borum caves, which are supposed to be like these low-level caves, not very interesting. Really where they're at is some new, undiscovered, untraversed cave. And they're down there. There's a rock collapse. There's a cave collapse. Now they're stuck down there. And then they find out nobody's going to be looking for us because we told them we're going to the Borum caves and we're in this new cave that nobody's ever heard of. So I think it's up to like 53 minutes ish till the stereotypical horror happens. But we've got this other kind of horror, I guess like I don't know, what would you guys call like this genre?
Atmospheric horror, maybe?
Or just like an adventure film. Or like a survival. Like I don't even necessarily know if the first half of the movie is horror. It's kind of like a real life drama. Put these girls in a hole and let's see if they can get out. And I really am curious. I wanted to look at the trailer before I saw this. Does anybody remember the marketing? Like, was this marketed as a monster movie, or were people supposed to go out thinking that this was an adventure movie?
They showed
you know there was
the green screen camera thing. They showed those shots in the commercial. Those creatures.
That's so whack.
It was like hovering behind the girl and shit. Yeah.
Could you? Yeah,
right. It would have been a better.
Oh my God! No, first of all, you'd have some people that would have left. They would have been like, "What the? This is so stupid." And then other people would have been like, "Fuck yeah, buckle in, double down on that popcorn." Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been like, "Hell yeah!" I knew going in. I had just seen the images,
extra butterboard
stuff. But Phable, I want to start with you because I keep on having you at the end. I do want to point out for people that don't, Phable, I keep on covering you up with shit like this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have this on my screen. I've got 4 boxes with your handsome little faces down here below that. So that's why I'm looking at you talk, and then I look up, oh shit, his face is covered. So if I do that again, just fucking tell me. But anyway, what do you think of the whole, like, this part of the story, the whole, like, the atmosphere of the cave, the setting, the lighting, the cinematography, everything that's going on down here? How do you feel about this portion of the movie?
I'm already anxious.
Right.
Already my anxiety as soon as they get down in that cave, is that something I would never do. Never in my life would I.
Let's pause there. Would any of us do this? I am very claustrophobic, dude. Like, would anybody go spelunking?
No, there's like the scariest horror movies to me are the ones that put me in situations in which I might find myself in real life. So there was that degree of separation for this movie with me where I would never find my big ass down in one of these little holes. Never in my life. So.
Yeah. Jumping with some little rope. You get a little clip. You put it in the rack,
No.
and you're
Get out of here, man.
I've got a rule. I don't do anything that if something goes wrong, I'll die. Like, it's tough to get me on an airplane because of that little rule that I have. But all right, I was just kind of curious. Like, none of us are adventurers. I would never in a billion years do this. I used to be in the in an operating engineer. Like, there was certain jobs that I could have had, like, oh, you just drive the truck down into that mine. It's like, nope, I'm never fucking doing that. I guarantee it. But that's definitely crossed off the list.
That's the first feeling I got. It's anxiety, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, like, screwed, bro. If anything goes down over here, you guys are so screwed. So yeah, man, it already sets that tone, that atmosphere, like you said, and it carries through all the way to the end.
Hell yeah. What about you, Lynk?
I gotta echo Fable's sentiments. That opening, I'm already like, oh, you guys are fucked, bro. Like, how can I'm like, the cave collapses after she's like stuck in there. I'm like, oh my god, how do you wiggle out of there? Like, how are you breathing? And then there's all this dust flying around. I'm like, you guys aren't breathing clean air. Like, it's got me tense watching that scene, you know. Yeah. And oh, by the way, I shout out to the set design. Doing some research on it for the show, I found out like it was all sets. Like, they're not once they film in an actual location. Like, and it looks so good. Like that's the atmosphere. Was talking. Yeah,
very impressive. That's one thing that stood out to me, especially compared to the second one. Like you said, like you believe it. Like Phable, you said claustrophobic and anxiety. Like when I'm not even sure which girl gets caught. My fiance told me it is the main character. She's the one that gets stuck there when the cave collapses. But like, I'm literally like butthole puckering, like, oh, like, you know what I mean? It gives me a lot of anxiety, that claustrophobic feeling.
When that rock moved and the girl looked at her, because she was trying to calm her down. Remember, she was hyperventilating. She tried to calm her down. Don't worry, sweetie, you're safe. I'm here. Just follow me. Listen to me talk. Blah, blah. The rock fell. She was like, move now.
Hell yeah, man. Stu, what about you? This whole chunk of the film, what are your feelings at this point?
Yeah, no, I agree with what the guys said. Like, absolutely terrifying, and I agree with Lynk. Shout out to the set design, like, incredible job. You know, I fell down a YouTube rabbit hole one time watching like awful videos on awful spelunking deaths and guys like being in tight caves and taking a wrong turn and being caught like upside down and other people going in and trying to drag them out. So just like the thought of that is horrifying. And, you know, going down there, you know, with all the gusto without a map and then it going bad on you in the worst way is got to be horrifying. So yeah, shout out to the set design and the way they built that suspense and that terror. They did a great job, I thought.
Hell yeah, man, dude. Like, I will be. You guys ever been like, you buckle up your seatbelt? You know, sometimes they've got that mechanism where, like, you know what I mean? If it'll lock up on you. You ever get in one like it locks up on you and you've only got like a centimeter? You're like, what the fuck? Like, I will freak out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine being down in a cave with fucking squeezing through some of the shit that they're squeezing through. Even before it goes south, before that, when they're doing it for fun, it's like, you ladies are insane. Like,
yeah, they're thrill seekers, those ladies. Dude, when they got to that cavern where it was like one hole to the other hole, like, and it was just nothing but a drop. I mean, I think I would die
Yeah,
from
I
fear
just died.
alone of like I'm so scared of everything that I'm gonna die of fear. Like
Anna told me at that point exactly that you're talking about. She's like, just so you know, if I'm ever in this situation, I'm just gonna give up. She's like, they're just gonna find me and a fuck curled up in a ball. I'm like, okay, good to know. I'll be with you. That sounds great. Let's do that. Bring your
Seriously.
phone. We can play some games. But all right. So we're down here in this hole. The shit is hitting the fan. We have the main character, Sarah. She's getting little glimpses of some golem type creatures. Nobody's believing her. I guess we're maybe supposed to think it's the trauma that's causing her to maybe think these things. Again, this is another one. I talked about the similarities between this and Fall. The movie we talked about last week could not be more different than this, The Invitation. But if you break these bitches down, the amount of similarities is startling. It's crazy how many things are similar. The way they're dispersing information about the
Trauma.
characters through the exposition, the death at the beginning, a group of friends meeting a year later. At one point in this movie, somebody has to put somebody out of their misery, just like at the beginning of The Invitation with the coyote. It's like, holy shit, like a lot of connections. But we're down there. They walk into this room and they find all of these animal bones and they start freaking out.
Oh, fuck it. Hello! Please! Is there anybody there? No, hello!
Fucking nightmare fuel. I literally did like, oh god.
yeah, boy.
It got me, dude. Let's talk about just that moment and the monsters and just like the craziness. Stu, what do you think of just that moment and just like the look of the monsters and just maybe even the lore, anything you're picking up about them?
It was a great intro for as long as they made us wait for it. I like that we got like the kind of handheld footage mixed in with it. It was just so well done. I wish we got like some immediate. Part of me wishes we got some immediate like blood and guts right after, but he still went scurrying about. But at the same time, I thought it was so well done, and it was a great payoff for what we had been waiting for. I thought like in the scene before where everybody thought Sarah was cracking up when she saw the one and she shined the light on it and it looked like Gollum eating a fish off in the distance. I thought that was a good build up to that, so it was a good payoff. I like that moment. Well done.
Hell yeah, brother. What about you, Lynk? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
message
agree.
my
Let's do it, like-
fiance. I'm gonna ask her to bring me a beer. Let's see how this goes. But carry on. We're gonna see if this
But no, yeah, I agree with Stu. I think it was well done. Like that. That's I still always get like a little jump scare out of that every time, just because it catches you off guard. It just comes out of nowhere. Like you think they're just exploring and like she's just paranoid and shit, and then boom, like you said, the handheld camera, Stu. That was a cool little addition to it. It made it feel. It made it feel more believable, in a way, because it was like we're seeing it from their perspective. It's not like some camera shot. It's like up close and personal. It's intimate, so it works. And shout out to the design, bro. I really love those designs. Like obviously they're modeled after Nosferatu or whatever, but they're effective and unique.
Yeah, they are. They did a good job.
Complex.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they've got like a touch of like elf to them. I like the ears because I don't know if you guys have thought much about. She just messaged me that the baby fell asleep on her. She can't bring me a beer. Okay, Anna. Okay, excuse. What was that? Oh, just like I thought something that they would get into in part 2 or even in this movie, and maybe they did give signs about the lore that I never picked up on. But like, did you guys ever pick up on anything? Like, I'm assuming this was a group of men and women, evidently, that they tried to traverse this cave thousands of years ago to go from the one exit to the other. They got stuck down there, and now they've evolved into these creatures. Is that pretty much what you guys pick up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. More
Right,
like,
and their ears being big, I like because they can't see; they're dependent on their ears. So their ears have grown a little bit to kind of pick up more of the
sonar and all that.
Yeah.
I was toying with the ideas of like different like that's the one I most sound and I go with the origin, but I was trying to think of like different ideas for him. I was like, or maybe there were like some miners that got trapped down there, but I'm like, bro, they wouldn't evolve into that in like 100 years.
Yeah.
It takes evolution takes years. So
You'd have to
yeah, and
have
I
some
think that's
super,
what you said there.
some
Radiation.
Springfield, Illinois level radioactivity going on in there. Three-eyed fish eaten for a couple decades. But no,
For
I
sure.
think it's cool. It's one of those things like one of my greatest interests in life is evolution. And do I say this to try and sound smart? Yeah. But I'm really into like evolution. Like I like for years I was obsessed with it, and I would fucking go tell everybody in the world that didn't understand it. I would sit them down and no, listen, I can explain it. And like to me, like that's it interests me. Like the idea, there's a backstory behind this involving evolution and ancient humans that is just it's just fucking cool. And the thing is, it's kind of possible. You know what I mean? We've been on this planet for a while.
You
Maybe
never know.
there's something like this going on down there.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
out
Yeah,
of
all
the
right.
realm
Hold on.
of science possibility.
Answer me this though. Why, if they've adapted, over generations to thrive in the cave, why did they go to the surface and bring meat down to eat? Why
Yeah.
are they carnivorous like that? That just seemed like a weird.
Stretch.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Just
you've
for
got a
them,
great point. Because in
I
order for
don't know.
them to evolve, you would have to assume that they were trapped in the cave. And if they could get up to the surface to eat, then why? It almost makes it, that's a good point. It makes it seem like it was a decision to stay down in the cave.
Well, I mean, you got to imagine that people went down there and they tasted their flesh and was like, "Oh, I like the way this tastes," and they're like, "Where's more of this?" Since they got the nose right, like, where's more of this? And they just found it, man.
Yeah, that's another similarity between this and Fall. On the way down to the cave, they find this like an elk or a deer or something that's been eaten. On the way, Link, if you remember in Fall, the way the girls they're going up to climb up their thing, they find a dead animal on the side of the ground. It's like a copy and paste Fall in the Descent. It's insane.
Bro, I'm gonna rewatch that tonight. But I was gonna say this could be, to add to this being possible. Like we know more about space than we know about the center of the Earth. That's kind of that's fucked up in a way. But it's like there's so much going on and with the planet we still don't know. So it's like
Absolutely.
like, and to add to them being involved in the like maybe they just kind of hung around in the caves most of the time. They only left when they had to, but with not, they were like in the caves just chilling and shit, letting things come to them. And over time, since they didn't really, go out in the sun, or they just this shit happened to them.
Right.
I don't know. I'm throwing shit.
Yeah,
No,
I could see them being like nocturnal hunters, like for sure.
That's how it would
Yeah.
have to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way to scientifically explain this is that it happened obviously slowly, but like maybe their eyes they liked the caves, they lived there, but they were still coming out. Then their eyes adapted, and they only went out a little bit, and then they just became more and more evolved to live down in the caves, and now they only go out at night to hunt, and now they're monsters, and it's perfect. Neil Marshall's like, they do what? Let's make a movie. Let's make a movie. All right, I find myself looking around for this stuff again. All right, here we go. So
let me get my thoughts on the creature, man.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Phable. I'm so sorry, brother. Let's go. We're back. All right.
Nah, man, I ain't got much to add, man. They look great. They're phenomenal. I shout out to the family structure that they showed briefly. They got a wife monster, you got a baby monster, and they kind of show that. Like a lot of that stuff is like you guys said, it's implied, a lot of passive aggressive, a lot of movements, body language in this movie, and especially from the creatures, because they don't move like monsters. They move like animals. This is exactly how an animal would act. A pack animal would act exactly this way. So as vicious and as crazy as they look, or because they look scary, they're no different than a pack of wolves.
Right.
This is exactly what they would do.
That's one thing that it's kind of like I remember at first, like some shit goes down and one of the girls kills one of them one-on-one, and for a second I was like, oh, that's kind of whack. Like they're not that strong even, but I get it's more believable. They are just like differently evolved human beings. They're not like these like supernatural monsters. They can be killed one-on-one, but they are. I guess that is one thing that still like it does irk me a little bit is that they are perfectly evolved to live down there, and the girls aren't. They almost should be a little bit stronger or a little bit tougher to beat. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple times, I guess I'm saying it didn't bother me, and then I'm saying it does bother me as I'm explaining it. Like one-on-one, they should have been able to fuck them up because sometimes it didn't seem like they had as much of an advantage as I think they would have had. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, as Dane would
I
say,
like that.
they lived in the. No, I was just gonna say real quick, as Dane would say, they lived in the darkness.
Oh,
I'm lagging. You go first, Phable.
I was gonna say I kind of like that, because it kind of fits in with the theme a little bit. I think where it's like man versus nature, and it's like there's a reason why we're at the top of the food chain, and these girls just needed to realize it, and when they did, they started whooping ass.
Right.
The only thing that isn't on their side is numbers. These guys are numbers, you know what I mean? So you can't really fight against that, but it just shows that if we were in numbers, we'd probably kick these things' asses.
Right. Well said, my friend. Well said. So we've got this just a little bit like of the lore that we're learning about it. This is just a scene that really stood out to me when we start to realize this is kind of a lot like the movie I'll be covering the first week of Horror Fest, Don't Breathe, where you've got these blind creatures walking around and if you just stay really fucking still, they're not going to see you, which is an aspect of the movie that I didn't really see coming. I like what they do with it. I like what they do with that in the second one too. But this scene in particular with these two girls that we don't know who the hell they are, that was a good scene. So I put that slide in there just to point that out. Ooh, why did I put this slide of Juno?
There we go.
Let's see what's next, and then I'll be able to tell.
That was the right side.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that is a Tomb Raider.
Hey,
That's a good Tomb Raider.
So we have sexy Tomb Raider here. Not that the original Tomb Raider isn't sexy. We have this version of Tomb Raider. And after they get attacked by these monsters, the group gets split up. Sarah goes off. Our main character goes off to do her John Rambo thing, and she looks fucking badass the whole time she's doing that. And then we've got the other group. Juno is getting attacked by these monsters. She's fucking them up. It's a pretty badass scene. She's beating the shit out of one of these things. Do I have it? Oh no, I thought I had the video, but I do not have the video. Okay, so she's beating the shit out of these things. And then one of her friends comes up behind her, Beth, Sarah's best friend, and she doesn't announce herself. And Juno totally accidentally just turns around and sticks this woman in the neck with one of her hangy tools and kills her. So this is one of like the big moments of the film where I was stunned by it. I love a good moment of film that just leaves me like, like, you know what I mean? Holding my breath for like 4 or 5 seconds, just like, oh shit. Like I act like my neck is broken. I'm turning to my fiance like, oh my God. And then she just leaves her. She just lets her die, which I'm like, what the fuck? This is the lady that we know that she had she's kind of a shitty person because she had an affair with her best friend's husband, but now she just leaves this woman to die, doesn't tell anyone about it. Your reaction, Stu?
yeah, man, it was wild. It was, after just more or less just introducing the crawlers or whatever to bring the horror back to like group on group violence was crazy. And like you said, just like putting it through her neck. Nice little gore shot, nice came through the neck nice, and dude just letting her drop, and like I don't know, she did a great like in shock face, but at the same time it's like and I don't want to spoil it too much, but I like how this wasn't necessarily her last chapter. I like how she came back a little later on. For
you're talking about Beth?
Yeah.
No, I mean, go ahead. We can because she leaves her and then Beth tells Sarah later. Sarah finds her and she's like, Juno did this to me, as I almost spill shit.
But Juno she comes and we get the hand shooting up out of the bones. Like it's so I remember cracking up when I saw it happen because it's just like I love the melodrama of it. But yeah, she came back like literally from the grave to let her know like to just kind of like more or less, put the nails in the coffin for Juno, let her know like she's a complete and total scumbag, and you need to handle that.
Totally,
so, yeah,
man.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Lynk, Phable, you guys have any thoughts on this moment, this stunning moment?
I really.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, I'm delayed. My bad. I really enjoy it. Everything amps up. The tension's high. The paranoia is high. You don't know who's who. We already couldn't tell who's who, but it's like now that they're all running around in chaos, definitely don't know who's who. I personally really enjoyed the Juno scene because I agree with Stu. The reason I don't want to say she is a piece of shit, Juno, but she was in such fight or flight mode that when she hit Beth in the neck, it brought her back to reality, and she was in shock, like what the fuck, like like shit just got, I just killed one of my, that got to be heavy. She's not a piece of shit to the point where she's not evil, she's a piece of shit, but she didn't want to kill her friends, and so it's like that whole the look of shock, how she just kind of withdraws into the shadows, which was a cool shot, by the way. I think it was believable. Like, it's how do you, something you didn't intend to do. Like, I don't think she was a killer. And it's like, how do you finish off your friend like that? She's saying, or don't leave me here. Like, it was tough. But yeah, I really enjoyed the scene. Everything was amped up.
What about you, brother? Phable?
Oh, this movie tried to make me hate Juno.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, I like this girl, man. This girl's a badass, bro. She whooped 2 of their asses, and she accidentally killed a friend. That was not on purpose. It's everything Lynk said. So I think them doing it the way they did it was to paint her as the bad guy, but I just couldn't 100% latch on to that. I still kind of like Juno, man.
I think you're supposed. Well, no,
my favorite character.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with both you guys. I think I feel exactly the way that the writers wanted me to feel. I think because they do make her more complex than that. She feels guilty about what she did with Sarah's husband. That's why she's doing this for Sarah. She wants to name the cave after her. She doesn't have the balls to admit it, but that doesn't make her a terrible human being. It just makes her, she's done wrong. And then later on, they get to a point where like, oh, we know the way out, but they're separated from Sarah. She's like, we're not leaving without Sarah. That says a lot. You know what I mean? That's a life or death thing. And they wrote that in there intentionally to make her, she's not mustache twirling at all. Like she's a complex, like barely a protagonist. She's just someone that's fucked up. You know what I mean? Rather than being a real antagonist, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a narcissist. Yeah, she's a narcissist.
Yeah, there you go, brother.
She wants to conquer everything, and her friends have to constantly tell her like, yo, chill. Like, like you got to be smarter than this. Is it all about ego with you? Like, she even said it. They even argued in the cave. It was like, this is an ego or something when she didn't tell her that she didn't bring the book.
She can't get out of her own way. She's just that type. All right, so I love all this stuff. Okay, we get all this bit with Sarah. As I said, this is when she does her John Rambo shit. She falls in this pool of blood, not to be confused with the pool of shit that they end up hanging out in the second one, but that's in the second one. No spoilers. Yeah, and there's just a bunch of her running around. I got to see what slide I have next. Okay, this is what I thought. So she's running around. She kills a handful of them on her own. As we said, she meets Beth. Beth tells her not only that Juno is the one that did this to me and left me, but she gives her this medallion that was from her husband. And she's like, dude was banging your husband too, or chick was banging your husband too. So that's why Sarah now looks like this, right? So here's my thought on this, and I want to know if you guys agree. First of all, I think it looks fucking badass. Everything with her looks super badass. And in this moment, here's how I feel like this is the moment you see it in a lot of movies where like this character, she's split up for the pack. She's been on this journey. And by the time she meets back up with that pack, she's a changed human being. The journey that she just went through changed her. And I was arguing with my fiance about this last night. Let's debate whether or not this is earned, because in my opinion, here's what Anna says, bro, she just fucking learned about her friend killing her friend and that friend cheating on her husband, and she just killed a bunch of these things, and she's in a cave. She's a changed woman. I say, you're right. The events that she went through, that's enough to create an arc. But I feel like the way that they built up the film so long before the horror starts, that this journey that she went on movie-wise is only like 15 minutes. maybe
Right.
20, maybe I don't know exactly. I might be wrong a little bit,
Yeah,
but it didn't feel like she was gone long enough from that group to be this fucking cave woman that she is in this picture. I like it all, but do you guys agree with like what I'm saying? Any of you?
I completely agree. I completely agree with what you're saying.
yeah. I think
And
some of it. Oh, go ahead.
I thought the way she did Juno was a little harsh too. Like,
Oh, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, go
No,
ahead.
you're good. You're good. But I was kind of
But
curious how you guys would feel. Go ahead, Link.
No, I agree with you. I felt like that it's not I don't want to say unearned, but they just expedited the process. Like it's like you said, we the audience only like if this was like if she showed up in the next movie being a badass, then the arc would make more sense. But like you said, she's been split up from the maybe 10, 15 minutes. She's drastically changed in that she went from this very timid person almost to being the most hardcore out of all of them in like the span of about 15 minutes. So it's like it is. I agree. It's unearned. They really sped up the process for that arc.
Yeah, I agree. This is the only knock I have on this movie. Is this what we're talking about right now?
I love it, dude. Anna, I hope you're watching out there.
this unearned badassness from this chick. Even though when she's badass, and I enjoy it. But the way she got there. Yeah, it's kind of foolbar, but I think half of it is because when she becomes a badass, those are some of the most coolest shots too.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. Like they're like action movie shots. They're like, look at me, I'm all covered in blood and I got a knife in my hand. I'm a badass. And they're like, God damn.
When she comes out the blood and shit, bro, holding her breath.
That scene straight out of Apocalypse Now, and then the rest of it gives me
Predator
vibes. Like it's
Predator.
Very Predator.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. So true.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we're all in agreement with that. So now we've got Juno and Sarah. They've teamed up. Sarah's like, so have you happened to see Beth recently? And Juno doesn't own up to it. She's like, oh, she died. I saw her die. Sarah's like, okay, all right. They go on a little bit together. They're making their way towards the exit. We see all these monsters, and Sarah, knowing that this girl slept with her dead husband before he died, she's not that fucking weird, slept with her husband, left her friend to die, and set this whole trip up that led all of her friends to die other than these two. She takes her fucking little tool dealio, which I wish I knew what that was called. She fucking, God, I'm old. She Nancy Kerrigan's this woman, Tanya Harding, this woman. Anybody get that reference? Anyway, she fucking kneecaps this lady and she leaves her to fucking die. She's like, okay, they're going to go after her and I'm going to be clear to make it to the exit and climb up these bones. Whoa. Stu, I'll start with you, man. What do you think of just the morality behind this? Her decision to kill Juno. Is it the right decision? And is Sarah ever redeemable in your eyes?
I mean, I don't know, man. That's not how I would, it was me. That's not how I would want to carry it. I thought it was, regardless of like what's happened, you have both been there. And like Phable said earlier, she made the call, not like, and she doesn't have all the information on what happened with Beth, but she made the call to stay, to stay there, to hold back for her friend. And, she's been the most efficient at keeping them alive up to this point, besides, Sarah's sudden turn into Conan. But I don't know, man. It just, my initial reaction when I saw it, like watching real time, I watched this way back when, I think when it first came out or right after, and I rewatched it this week. Rewatching it this week, my initial reaction when it happened was like, really, bitch? Like, it just seemed like the most passive aggressive thing to like be like, to ask her a question about Beth, knowing the answer, and then like, oh hey, come over here, and then set her up, and then you magically find the pile of bones and get to scatter up out of the hole and get out of it. I don't know, man. So that was my gut reaction was just like, was not in agreement with it. I feel like at that point you've made it that far with Homegirl, get out of the hole together and then take her one on, you can fight to the death then or something like that. But I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with everything you said. What about you, Link?
I think it was cold blooded. Like I get the disdain, the upsetness, being angry, but it's like you guys both need each other to get to that point to get out of there. It's like Stu said, confront it afterwards. Like no one, unless it's like, not to get too deep, but unless it's like murder, someone's taken out. It's like had Sarah personally killed, or had Juno personally killed the husband and the daughter, and she found out about this, then I understand where Sarah's coming from, you know. And she found out, I completely understand where Sarah's coming from, like pieces, deuces, bitch. But in this instance, it's like, bro, that was you guys had a rapport at some point. Like people are fallible, you know. We're flawed, we're all flawed individuals. So it's like, give her the benefit of the doubt, you know. She was trying to make it up for you. She was trying to make it up to you in her own weird way. Juno is selfish and narcissistic, like Fable was saying, but she was making attempts to mend the broken relationship. But she wasn't without redemption. So I think I agree. I definitely. I don't think I agree. I definitely agree that I think Sarah was very extreme in that approach towards the end. Quick question: how did the movie end for you guys?
Oh, did you? Well, let's get into that in a minute because there's a UK version and there's an American version. But Fable, let's just finish this up. Then I want to get to that. Well, what did you think, Fable? You agree?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Sarah's the villain. Sorry, I think she's the villain. Yeah, because
talk to him.
Yeah, well, I mean, not a villain. You know, I mean, she's not a mustache twirler either. But that was so cold, dude. Like Stu said, let's punch it out outside. Like we've been through a lot together, where we got to knuckle up about this. You know what I mean? Argue, punch each other up, whatever the case may be. But don't leave them to these creatures, these animals. You know what I mean? Like that's just like, wow. You know what I'm saying? So that moment, Sarah went like this for me. Boom.
Yeah.
Later, Juno went like this for me. Bam.
You know, it really makes me wonder what the writers thought, because I can't imagine a writer being like, oh, let's take our fucking main character and let's just like ruin her at the end of it. Like Anna didn't feel the way that we all feel, because I feel that way too. It's like, oh, you can't be redeemed after that. And they don't even they don't even necessarily really deal with that in part two the way that they should. Like,
Juno didn't defend herself either, because at that moment, Juno should have said, yo, it was a mistake, bro. Like, I was getting kicked, my ass kicked by two of those things.
Right.
She came out of nowhere. I was just swinging the blade. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do. I lost my mind. Like, she didn't say nothing. She was just like, and they just standing off, like, like, say something.
And if Juno was a complete piece of shit, she could have, like you said, easily, like, took off without Sarah, but she was like, no, we're gonna go back for it. She could have gotten rid of all her problems right there by letting Sarah just stay in the cave, but she chose to go back. You know, that says something about like Fable said earlier, the writers, I think, were trying to vilify Juno's character. They just did not succeed at the end of the day. That's one of the flaws in the movie.
They tried to like,
I think they wanted to leave some gray there, though. You know what I mean? But go on, sir.
Yeah, they tried to stage it like when the spike went through her knee, like it was some big cool land, and it felt like quite the opposite. I don't know. It just they tried to make it like it was some cool moment, but it did not feel that way.
Speaking of that, let's go ahead and get to the end of this thing. I watched the American version. The way the American version ends, Sarah climbs up this fucking pile of bones. This is this actress would be upset if she knew I was showing this picture. This is not a flattering image of the beautiful Sarah.
She's rebirthed.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, it reminds me of that scene in Ace Ventura too. She gets out of here, and the thing that I love that she does that you don't see in other horror movies, she doesn't just get out of this hole and then just lay there and be like, oh, that was rough. She gets out and she just fucking runs. She's still like, she's like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, yes, bitch, run. She runs out into the street. She ends up getting in a car, and she drives a little bit. She pulls over. She throws up out the window, and then she turns around, and there's a fucking ghost version of Juno sitting in the passenger seat next to her. Now, I'll just say, again, this is the American version. We'll get into the UK version in a second. My opinion on this is like, that was fucking stupid. I think at this point you've realized, like, I enjoyed this movie. This is a fucking really good movie. But that ending is like, what movie did you think you just made? Because you didn't make a movie that would have this kind of ending. It tonally is like, there's no ghosts in this movie. What the fuck were you doing? I don't like it. What do you guys think? Stu, we'll start with you again, brother. What do you think of this? Or did you?
So-
What version did you watch? This is what you saw?
This is what I saw, but correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't she see versions of like Jessica, her daughter, like in the wreck, like one or two times before that? And I think
Yeah.
like that was like so Juno was the new ghost that she was going to start seeing like after I guess all these.
Well,
I
let
thought
me
it was
just
dumb.
okay. In the UK version, evidently the way it goes down, she looks up, she sees June. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same thing. But then after that, she wakes up and she's still in the cave, and you realize that whole
Yep.
her escaping was also a dream. And then you see that flash that we've been seeing the whole time of "Happy Birthday, Jessica," and it's got the candles on the cake, and the flame on the candle becomes the torch that she's been using, and that makes it make sense the whole time that you've been seeing this cake. I
Yeah.
mean, we get it. She's
Yep.
in mourning for the loss of her daughter, so it's enough to make it okay that she's had this vision. But the UK ending kind of ties that all in because I kept on waiting for the cake to come back at one point. But Link, did you see the version that I'm talking about, or did any of you guys see that version?
No.
I honestly, I've only ever seen the UK version. But when I first watched this movie, I had pirated it off a live LimeWire or some shit, and it was the UK version because it was like I knew it was in theaters. So when I thought when I found a good copy of it, I was kind of shocked. I was expecting some cam version. I didn't know it had came out like a year prior in the UK, and it was like a year later in the States. So the version I had watched was, I guess, the UK version, and the version I watched recently was the UK version as well. That's the only version I've ever seen. So I mean, I've seen the American version because they just add a scene onto it. But like you said, thematically, the American version is just like, bro, it just went from a creature movie to a fucking ghost movie. You know, like I like what Stu said about the ghost of Juno haunting Sarah now. But I think the ending for the UK version is so much more poignant. Oh, this is a new spin I was having about the UK version. So she's looking at the birthday cake, right? And there's 5 candles throughout the entire movie. And in the UK version, she looks at her daughter and she looks back at the camera pans back at her, but when she looks at the cake the final time, there's 6 candles. There's 6 girls. Now, you could look at this movie in a way that Sarah went down. She was already a little unstable. She went down there, lost her shit because people can go crazy in situations like that, like in closed, dark spaces. And she killed all her friends. And she was kind of like, or maybe she had fell or was dying, and that was like the last thing she was seeing was like this hallucination of her daughter. And the 6th candle was her joining her friends who all died in that cave.
I like it. The director Neil Marshall, he says, because there's theories that's a thing that some people theorize that she went crazy and it's really her because we see her kill 2 of her friends down there. That's on camera. I guess there was a scene that they cut where when she's in the hospital at the beginning, she has a vision and she sees the monsters from the cave. So that would have really like sent home the message that, or would have lent a lot of credence to that theory, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. But now that I've fucking taken away this thing, I don't know where we were at.
Oh, it's my turn.
Okay.
Again, fair enough. I'm conflicted. I didn't see the UK version, but if you're telling me it was all a dream, I don't like it.
No, me neither.
I don't like it. I don't like that it was all a dream. All that going through all of that for it to be a dream, I don't like it. I also don't like that she saw the ghost in the car. I think she should have just ran away. Cut. We're done. Movie's over.
You don't even got to have her run away. Just stop the movie 15 seconds before that.
Just have her
2
run
seconds
towards the camera. Camera's run. She's run. Credits. That's
What if when she pukes and you see that semi come up behind her, the semi fucking crushed her and killed her? I'd have been better with that than what we got. Yeah, I'd have been. It wouldn't have thematically made sense, but I would have been like, fuck yeah.
So that being said, I almost wish the visions of the birthday cake and all that weren't in there. I almost wish they weren't because they imply something that they couldn't tie up thematically in 2 different versions. So it's almost like, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to be a little more subliminals, a little more deeper than, but you don't really have to. We are hooked on these girls' relationships. You don't have to put the ghostly stuff in there.
Right. Hell yeah, brother. Well said.
You could,
well said, man.
with the UK version, I was gonna say you could take it as like it was still like I think I read that they said they took it out of the state versions because I guess it was too depressing. But I felt like it fit. Like it's like she still went through all that shit, but she just at the end there was no happy ending. She was dead. Yeah, exactly. She's
I gotta see
it creatures.
Before I could really 100% say that I don't like it. But just if you're telling me that she imagined some of that adventure, I'm not feeling it.
I think.
Oh no,
that Link's point. It's not. Yeah, it's just erasing like the very end, like the bit where she escapes. Pretty much. I think it's pretty much everything happened other than that. So I still don't like it, but it's not. It wouldn't fucking ruin it for me.
Right.
But she's still is she still trapped in the cave at the end? Are they like closing in on her type deal or?
Yeah, and actually, yes, they are closing in on her, right?
Yep.
So it implies she's
it's insane. You don't Yeah.
So before we go ahead and while I'm thinking of it, before we go ahead and grade this thing, which we're about to do in a second, the second movie, which I'll say I watched it last night. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I just want to tell you the setup for it because I think it's so fucking stupid in my opinion. The main character, she's the star of the second movie. It's the same actress that's in this one. It's 2 days later, and they go back down in the cave. Why would they go down in the cave? What would you go down there for? Guess what? Sarah's got amnesia. She's like, we got to go rescue my friends. And then they get down there. She's like, oh, wait, shit, they're all dead. Oh, shit. so that's the premise of the second one. It's like, they could have come up with something better than that.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch.
There's a cameo in it. I will say that.
It's good. If you enjoyed this movie, you should watch it.
Yeah, you would almost not care if it was a whole new group. You know what I mean? It's like Hatchet. You know, it's like it's the whole new. It's the same dynamic. It's this creature, right? It's gonna kill you. You go where it lives, it's gonna kill you. If you go into its house, but the group dynamic is what sells those movies, and I think here is an opportunity for that too.
100%.
New group of people full of cave.
This came out in 2005, and the second one came out in 2009. I would say the way the second one goes, they could just make a Descent 3, but I was like, let's get a remake or just. Well, I'm ready for another chapter of this thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't. No, go ahead. That's it. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say the director said he didn't say this until years later, but because he was executive producer for the second one, but he said the second one there was no point to it. Like the first one was its own confined arc. So I agree with you. Like you could pick up with the third one, but I say at this point just do like a reboot, whole new cast, whole new set of characters. Like Phable was saying, different situations and relationships, and you have those creatures in the backdrop.
Or you could have a cave diving team because they have been tipped off of this new creature that lives in this cave, and they're going down there with the professional setup, right? They got the gear. What these girls didn't, they have it all.
You can do the alien thing, where all of them think they're going down there for.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
And you've got one corporate guy in there
that's
just trying to make we're gonna make this guy into a movie star. Yeah. Okay, so let us grade this bad boy, rate this thing, and get on out of here. Everybody in the chat, first of all, I super appreciate you guys being here. Sal and Bobby and Two Gun and Rogue Collecting. We had again President Obama stopping in. We always appreciate you, Mr. President. It's good to see you. We miss you. All right, so all you guys are cool. Stu, my brother, what is your overall thoughts on the Descent and your letter grade? I don't know if we ever warned you that you got to give a letter grade for this thing, but
letter grade.
Figure it out.
My overall thoughts. I thought it was solid. You know, not too bad of a flick. Like I said, it was paced well. They brought you in good early with an emotional hook. Had compelling enough characters. Some good gore, some good kills. I'll give it a B.
I like it.
I'll give it a B.
I was sitting there last night going through my whole thing because last week I gave the invitation of B. I'm like, a B is a good movie. B is a good movie. And I was sitting there thinking last night, if I was like, it's okay, that's a C. If it's stupid, that's a D. If it's a piece of shit, that's an F. A B, that's a good movie.
Oh yeah.
I feel you, man. Steph, where you at on it, brother?
I'm right there with Stu. It's a B. It's no movies without its flaws, but there's just certain things that could have been fine tuned. I'm trying to think of what I would have fine tuned actually, but I think it's a solid, like you said, it's a good movie. There's atmosphere, set production is well done. Character, the actors, actresses are all do a fantastic job. They're all believable in their roles, and the creatures are cool as hell. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's like it's that sweet spot of an hour 30. It's in and it's out, does its job, and it does it well. So I'll give it a solid B.
Hell yeah, brother. Well said, my friend. What about you, Phable?
I'm gonna go A minus, bro. This movie is fantastic. I don't know anybody who would see this movie and wouldn't get absolutely claustrophobic, anxiety, be trapped up by the female melodrama. Creatures look amazing. Set design is stellar. Only a few hits is characterization and maybe a little bit of early computer effects that don't hold over, like the bats and some of the creatures pulling on the thing and the hole between the two holes, whatever. All you could see some of the edge of, you know what I mean, some early graphics, but other than that, this is a thoroughly entertaining movie. A minus, man, top notch. This is a horror movie that doesn't have any horror tropes and it's scarier than half of those movies with horror tropes. I said it. Let's fight.
I agree with you, dude. Like, there's something.
Yeah, well said, dude.
Just the setting of the film. It already, for me, and I told you guys how claustrophobic I am, and like I've already like got a level of fear, a baseline that everything they sprinkle on top of it is just bonus. The look of the fucking film is so good to me. Like it's almost, in some ways it's overly lit. Like I don't know, it's overly saturated. That's what it is. It's not overly lit. It's so saturated. It's so red at times. It's green at times. One thing that they do at certain times, like the whole fucking screen will be black and there'll be just like this little hole of light that you're seeing. It's like, it really makes you feel like you're underground. I don't fucking like to feel like I'm underground. So it's like, it's really effective in that way.
Lighting guy in this movie, give him an Academy Award for this movie.
I wish I would have looked it up, man. Maybe I will while we're talking, because as far as the way I understand it, like the DOP, they're the guys that light. Director of photography is who lights. And that's what I wanted. I know without even looking it up, the director of photography for this one isn't the director of photography for the second one. Not that it's bad. Like, it's still good. It's interesting, Link, that you said the editor directed it, because it's got that. You know what it reminds me of? When we talked about the Hitcher remake, some of the action editing that you get in that movie is really similar to this. And I don't always like that. Right. Really quick, fucking chaotic fucking cut. But in this movie, it's done really well. And the other thing that they do it with those cuts, and they almost fucking overdo it, but I like it every time. So whatever, do it, is they'll have like a close-up shot of something penetrating skin and blood gushing out of it. It's a neck, it's an arm or whatever. And it's like, I like that. It's a really, for it being a girly movie with all these girls in it, like they don't hold back on the gore. There's a lot of blood,
especially on that first kill. That first kill, they really like. I mean, she gets tore apart, dude. I also like, on the technical side, I love the score. The score as well. I thought the music was really well done. We didn't really talk about that much, but I thought some of those orchestral elements that they put in some of those moments, like in the drum, like the heavy drums when the callers were around, I thought they did a good job.
It was good enough that the first time that I watched it, didn't notice it at all. And then I thought about it afterwards, like, damn, I didn't notice the music fucking at all. And usually that means the music was pretty badass. I took the time to put this one clip together that I never did play. So let's watch it. It's 22 seconds long. But this is one of like the more gnarly bits in the film that I've fucking really enjoyed. That's so gnarly to me, dude. Like, just the way that she goes limp and she's hanging there. Spoiler alert, she's still hanging there in part 2, which I fucking love. That's so cool. But that to me was like, it's almost doesn't fit like my thought of this movie. Like, this is a popcorn movie. This is almost like family fun movie. You got a 12-year-old daughter, she'll be fine. But then like you got a scene like that, like, god damn, that's gnarly. Just dangling there limp in front of your friends, dripping blood. Love it.
There's a lot of creative shots in this movie. A lot of them. Like when she's walking up the bone thing, the side cut of the mountain, the cave, wing of the opening, and just there's a lot of that. Just the scene you showed alone, the camera's turning. So you don't know what's the ceiling, what's the floor, what's the ceiling. He's upside down. No, he's right side up. Great stuff.
And it just does not, like, when Link, I had the same reaction to you when you read that this was all on a soundstage. I was just like, wow, so impressive. But I'm just realizing I never graded the thing. I'm gonna get for all the things that I liked about it. We also mentioned the things that I had a problem with, and that was like, they didn't have to be so confusing who was who. They could have fucking tweaked that. That could have been better. Some people that might not bug as much as it does bug me, because anytime that I feel like I'm losing track of something, I get like, I don't know if anxiety is the right word, but like a low level anxiety, the type of anxiety that you should feel for fucking something like that, I feel. And I'm like, wait, I'm losing this. You know what I mean? So that bugs me. The Sarah, that moment not feeling fully earned is a little bit off. I'll ding it for that. And the moment at the end with Juno, like I don't feel the way that I think the writers and directors wanted me to feel at that moment. I don't think any of us really do. I kind of question the morals of the person that wrote that, if they think that was a just thing to do. I also question Anna because she thinks it was just too. But having said all that, I'll give it a B+. Dude, I think this was a really good movie. And this is another thing I told Anna earlier. Like, it's just like, I would watch it again right fucking now. It's just an easy watch, even though it's like intense. Like, it's just like, I don't know. There's not all these character moments that you have to like, I need to do this character beat again. They're in there, but they're done organically.
Right.
I could watch this, again today.
And it's got the magic runtime. An hour and 20 something.
Hour 30, baby.
Yeah,
right.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Let me
upgrade chat. It really is.
A B+. Since you guys enjoyed it so much, and I recommend, okay, bump it up for that. I like that.
Hell yeah. I will point out, since Two Guns complimenting my shirt, maybe I should make myself big. This is the official Horror Fest 2023 here, right there, front and back. Boom.
Nice.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
With the list.
So
I'm ordering one next week, dude.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, man. I'm fucking stoked to have it. I didn't get one last year. I got a mug and the handle fell off my mug. So I'm pretty upset about that. Hopefully one of the sleeves doesn't fall off this. But I haven't, like, I've said it in passing, and now I'm saying it an hour and 20 minutes into this show. But Blood Splatter Chatter is officially part of the PCP Horror Fest 2023 between Pop Culture Philosophers, Dylan's Horror Show, and Blood Splatter Chatter. Over 30 shows between 3 channels covering over 50 movies. And it's starting in August, man. We're starting Halloween fucking early. So it all starts August 26th on Dylan's Horror Show. I'm going to put together sometime this week, if you are into the idea of a horror fest, I'm going to put together a quick video at one point this week where I'm going to go through the whole lineup and put it out there. Maybe I'll just pop on and do a live, but keep an eye out for that. Yeah. Robbie's made the announcement. Dylan's made the announcement on his channel. I haven't ran through all of them yet. Phable and Lynk, I think you've sat through it a couple times, so I won't make you do it again. So we'll just we'll save it and I'll do it solo. But let me just say, it's starting with Maniac on Dylan's Horror Show on the 26th, and then my show that week, it's going to open with Don't Breathe. And I'm opening it with Don't Breathe because it thematically ties in with what Robbie's opening up with, which I'll be on for the entire Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, which is, I'll tell you what, there's about 5 of those that I haven't seen or I hadn't seen, and I'm going through them, and I've watched 2 of them. It's not good. It's not good. So let's just say, I think this is going to be, they've done Nightmare on Elm Street. Phable, you and I were there for that. They've done They're doing Saw this year. They've done Scream. I think this Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going to be the biggest fucking shit slinging episode that PCP rough franchise. There's a reason why most people
Oh
have,
my God.
and I'm finding out that reason. What up, Manny? This sexy son of a bitch right here. This is the dude that put together. How fucking badass is that, dude?
Oh yeah.
What a guy.
So sick.
Check him out, Nerdtastic News.
So
Check
sick.
them out. By the way, speaking of the links to all these guys' IGs and social medias down in the description below. Stu and Lynk are doing a new comic show. Why don't you tell them about the show, Stu, my brother?
Comics and hip hop. Link and myself go over the comics we read the week before, any notable news or events, and have some type of hip hop and comic book theme. This past week we did 2 Detroit legends and Jeff Johns and Jay Dilla. The episode before that we had the homie Phable on with Paul to do groups in hip hop. Great episode. Our best episode so far, I thought. So it's been great, man. It's been really great, getting up with Link and just being able to talk comics every week. But also just kind of venturing out into that space and getting better every week and having fun with the homies.
Hell yeah.
It's been an
Well,
honor
I
to
will just say
be in PCP, so
I don't just
know.
necessarily reach out to fucking everyone that I see Steph talk to online, but I'm like, I fucking like this guy. I'll fuck with Stu. So I'm happy to have you on, dude. I definitely if it's up to me, this will not be the last time you're here on Blood Splatter Chatter, my friend.
I appreciate you having me on, bro. Appreciate all the kind of things you had to say in the past about the show. So it's been an honor.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Always look forward to seeing Stu on some PCP Army Bad Batch content coming up. He's part of the crew, so you know how we do. We're all over the place, all on each other's channels and socials, man.
Hell yeah, brother. Link, you have anything to add to that? You want me to just throw it over to Phable?
Yeah, just what Stu said, Supreme Clientele every Wednesdays, 9 p.m. on IG.
Hell yeah, brother. Dr. Doom's fan club. Be there, be square. What about you, brother Phable? I don't know why I keep calling you brother Phable. Brother Phable.
Brother Phable.
I like it.
Oh man. Come join us next Saturday, August 26th, for the return of Blaine Phable and his amazing friend.
Go.
Culture. Of course, we're moving to YouTube, but not quite just yet. We're still on IG for a couple of shows, and we're starting off with a bang, man. I got my brother Comic Book Circumstances as my first guest back from break here. So can't wait, man. Come join us next Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, IG Live.
Hell yes, my friend. Hell yeah, man. Looking forward to it. Everybody, again, go check out these guys' socials down in the link below. All you sexy bastards in the chat, led by Mr. Manny down there, Two Gun up in this. All you guys, I guess I already went through it. Sale, Rogue, everybody that was in here, anybody that I missed, I apologize. Super appreciate you guys being in here. Bobby De La Ghetto, you sexy bastard.
Bobby.
Thank you guys all so much. And next week, I don't know what I'm doing, man. I may be doing a show. I may be taking the week off to fucking watch all these Texas Chainsaw Massacres and prepare for Horror Fest. I really don't know yet, so it's up in the air. I've got something planned, but I don't know if we're actually going to go through
won't watch these
or not.
Inferno.
Yeah, dude, you'd be surprised. Last night when I did the Freddy franchise, I watched part 5 3 times, and that's the worst one. But that's the kind of fucking guy I am.
Just in case nobody knows or you don't know. Anytime somebody watches something twice or more, we call it doing a Verno. Just put it to the joke.
Pull a Verno. Watch it twice and fucking forget half of it still. But all right, you guys are the best. We're gonna get out of here. Thank you.
Good shot. Okay, he's dead. Let's go get him. That's another one for the farm.
Goodbye, my angel. I hope you have a good time. But of course you will.